working for and with the California State University system. And this Courses to Careers webinar series is part of that. And it also supports more broad objectives in the state, like the CSU Chancellor's goal of career emphasis in what CSU students are doing, not just your degree, but where you go post-degree. And then it also fits in with the California Master Plan for Education through the governor's office. And our engagement with students has been formalized in the last year or two with our SOURCE student group. In SOURCE, we love punny acronyms, so it's CSU-WATER SOURCE, Student Outreach Unit for Research and Career Education. And welcome to SOURCE students who are in the room. If you're not, follow up with us and how to join this group. And also, just in the next couple of days here, we're continuing this career focus in our CSU-WATER operations in our annual conference, which is titled Courses to Careers, Bridging the Gaps. That's this Thursday and Friday at Sonoma State University. And we're pleased to report that among the registrants for our conference is 45% students, and the rest is a mix of CSU faculty and external partners and stakeholders, like people with CUWA, for example. All right, so next slide, we'll do a little recap of the webinar from February 5th and where we're going. So we really appreciate post-webinar surveys. They're really informative on how things worked and where we should go in the next directions. So what we found in your survey responses, the biggest takeaways in the left part of this table, is that one of our objectives was met, is that the audience discovered that there were many career opportunities in the water sector. And that's really the truth. Some of these big operations with CUWA agencies are very diverse and have a lot of demands on them. And then internships are valuable. That's more for your formative years, younger years in your career development. I think we're going to be more career focused here. There's a lot of job stability, good benefits and opportunities. And I think it rings true that these water providers to so many Californians, it has to work. It could be resilient to droughts and recessions, for example. Water has to be delivered. And there's also discovery of soft skills over GPA, for example. So the more you can communicate, things that might not show up in your GPA, the better. And there's a lot of fronts on sustainability and conservation. For example, we have a lot of students in the webinar coming from natural science degree programs, so that's applicable there. And then a big point of advice, just in your world in general, in your career development, is networking and staying engaged. So don't be reticent to go to a lot of events and talk to a lot of people and advocate for yourself broadly. That's always useful and appreciated. So what you said you want more of is breakout session exchange, and that's why we're doing this session today, highlighting the Q&A and listening to your questions and addressing those. Ability to attend multiple breakouts. You could jump around the breakout rooms, for example. Practical insights. We're going to have these sessions driven by your questions, and you did provide questions based on that. And then some deeper discussions. So let's be open for different modes of communication and exchange in the breakout rooms. So with that, we'll turn it over to some words about CUWA.
Yeah. And so, by the way, my name is Katie Ruby. I'm a water resources engineer with Brown and Caldwell, which is an environmental engineering firm. And I also serve as one of the deputy directors of the California Urban Water Agencies, or CUWA. And I'm joined today by a few fellow CUWA team members. So Amparo Flores and Jocelyn Morinishi, and we will be moderating the breakout sessions today. So a little bit about CUWA. We are a nonprofit corporation made up of 11 of the largest urban water agencies in the state. And today you'll get to speak with representatives from many of those member agencies during the breakout sessions. Our agencies collectively serve drinking water to 2/3 of the state's population. So chances are many of you receive water from one of our member agencies. Also, many of our CUWA agencies provide services beyond just water supply. So some of them also provide wastewater services or power, flood protection services, and more. So you can ask a little bit about people's individual roles and kind of how they're contributing during the breakout rooms. CUWA's mission is to provide a unified voice for urban water solutions that keep our environment and communities thriving. And so I hope as you speak with some of our member agencies today, you get a sense of how they are supporting their local community and protecting the environment in their own unique way in their own service area. So let's go to the next slide. Today we have 3 breakout sessions, and building on the previous webinar, again, this is really focused on Q&A. We really appreciate the questions you all submitted in advance. We got about 40 questions in advance, so we're going to do our best to address as many of those as we can, while also leaving space for kind of live discussion, because I'm sure there's other, questions you all have thought of or maybe didn't have a chance to submit. And so we really want this to be interactive. So let's go to the next slide, and I'll give a brief overview of the 3 breakout sessions. Again, you can jump between these, so feel free to pick one to start, and then you can always come back to the main room and choose another session. The engineer scientist career track. Oh, and by the way, Jocelyn put links to all of the speaker bios in the chat there. So if you're curious about kind of who is in these, which panelists are in these sessions, you can learn more there. But kind of at a glance, the engineer scientist career track, we have a few engineers, a hydrogeologist, and an environmental scientist. In the management, administrative, and communications track, these panelists have a really diverse mix of roles and responsibilities, including human resources, water affordability planning, land management, environmental affairs, and external affairs. And what's especially interesting about this group is their kind of diverse majors and backgrounds and how they ended up in their current roles. So if you're someone, especially someone with like a non-engineering or non-science major, and you're curious about how you might fit into the water industry, I'd encourage you to check out this group. And then last but not least, we have a breakout session on applying for water agency positions. So this is your opportunity to ask HR representatives from multiple agencies about their agency's hiring process, requirements, what they look for in applications, et cetera. So with that, I'll have Jackie provide kind of some instructions for how to access the breakout rooms. And then we'll go ahead, join those breakouts, and then we'll see you all back in about 40 minutes.
Great. Yeah. So in a minute here, I'm going to open the rooms, and our panelists, you have been pre-assigned to your break rooms. You should automatically be put into that one. Students, you should see an option to select which breakout room you'd like to join. Like Katie mentioned, you can go between a few different ones. And you should be able to switch once you're in a breakout room if you'd like to move to a different one. If you have a hard time with that, though, I will be here in the main room, so you can feel free to leave your breakout session, hop back into the main room, and I can help you get into the next breakout session you'd like to get into. So now I'm going to open these rooms, and you can start selecting.
Hi, Jackie. How do I select where to go?
Um, if it's not showing you the option to choose a breakout room, I can assign you to one right now. Do you know which one you'd like to go into?
Yeah, can you send me please to the management administrative one?
Of course, you're going right now.
Hello.
Hi, did you want to move into a different breakout room?
Yes, I was on the Zoom earlier, but I lost my connection, so
Oh no.
I
Okay, yeah, everyone's just in the breakout sessions right now. There is, I don't know, were you on here when we went over what the different sessions are?
no.
Okay, so there's an engineer and scientist career track, which has a few different environmental scientists, hydrogeologists, engineers. There's also the management, administrative, communications one, just looking more on that side of water agency positions. And then there's also a panel that's all HR specialists. So they're talking more about, the different things that water agencies look for when you're applying for positions.
Okay. Yeah, could I join the engineer and scientist career track?
Of course, I am putting you in there right now. Hi, did you want to pop in a different breakout session?
Hi, yeah, I just joined.
Oh, okay. Let me give you a brief rundown then of what's going on. So everyone is in the different breakout sessions right now. Since this is mostly a Q&A style panel, that's where most of that time is. Oh, there we go.
Mhm.
And then, sorry, I'm seeing that people are popping between two different ones right now, and those numbers changing moved everything on my screen. But so we've got an engineer and scientist track with a few different environmental scientists, hydrogeologists, engineers. We've got a management and administrative one that's got people on that side of the water sector talking about some of the non-STEM based careers there are. And then there's also the panel that is all HR specialists. So they're talking about different things that they look for when people are applying for water agency positions. So I can assign you to any three of those or any one of those three.
Okay, awesome. I'll try the water agency positions, please.
Awesome. I'm sending you there right now. Hi, did you want to hop into a different session? Hi, do either of you want to hop into a different session? Okay, just let me know which one and I can put you into that.
Hello. Do you have for Zone 7?
There's a few different people who work in Zone 7 who are in the different ones. Do you know like which breakout room you're interested in joining? Were you here when we went over the ones earlier, or did you just join the meeting altogether? Oh, there we go. Did you want to get moved into one of the breakout rooms? Okay, I'm just gonna Hi, did you want to hop into a different breakout room?
Oh, yeah, I'm just about to jump into another breakout room.
Okay,
Um,
perfect. Sorry, just checking. Some people have had a hard time switching in between.
no, yeah, thank you. I think I see it here.
Okay, perfect.
Hi, Jackie. Do you mind shifting me to the other one? Sorry, I don't know why I can't do it myself.
Yeah, of course. Which one did you want to go into?
So the engineer scientist track, please.
Okay, perfect. Let me
Oh, I think we're back.
Yes, we're back. And I know Steve is going to share some closing remarks. Also, it looks like he put a link to the CSU-WATER source student group in the chat. So definitely encourage you all to check that out if you're not already involved in source.
Right. Thanks, Katie. Thanks everybody for joining. It was really great to see the discussions going on in the room and look at all the wonderful people we had from the CUWA agencies. It's so great to hear from you and share what you have to offer to students and students. Thanks for showing up, registering, submitting your questions. And I saw in the chat a lot of traffic about jobs and opportunities from the member agencies. So that's great to see. And one thing I want to note about CSU-WATER Source, if you're not in that group already, it's our student group. And Jackie, who's running this meeting, is a point person there, and we formed an executive committee, and I saw 2 of the 3 ex-committee members in the meeting here, which was great. But what we've been using our CSU-WATER Source student group for is like a listserv portal. So let's say Brenda Martinez, for example, from Metropolitan, or our other partners like Tasha or Shalisa send us or post something on LinkedIn about jobs they have out there or internships. I have Jackie send that to our source email list. And so you're getting that direct pipeline or connection. And also, let's see, Amparo posted something there for newly launched website for water jobs, career building. Great. There's lots of resources out there like that. And then another thing we talked about in planning the webinar is that, for example, through the CSU-WATER Source student group and that email listserv, I'll grab things that I see on LinkedIn and share those through that, either from me or Jackie. And speaking of LinkedIn, I know it's not the most popular or potentially useful thing to students in your life right now, but it is really the place to see the traffic about job opportunities and joining groups for workforce development and all kinds of things like that. So if you haven't done it already, maybe take some time to look around LinkedIn, get signed up, and start connecting with people. And so I think you've heard that messaging in our session today about getting connections and learning more, and that's a great resource to learn more about this as you go forward in your career. All right, so any remarks from the CUWA side? How were things in your breakout rooms, for example?
We had a lot of great questions. Full discussion probably could have kept going for another hour. And so just to note, Jocelyn did kind of share again the speaker bios in the chat, and we have email addresses for our speakers. So if you have follow-up questions, kind of for individuals that you didn't have a chance to ask, I encourage you to follow up. And as Steve said, connect with us on LinkedIn too. I think pretty much everyone here has a LinkedIn profile and would be happy to connect with you there.
Right. And then finally, Jackie, do you want to mention something about the post-event survey?
Sure thing. Yeah, so after we end here today, I'll be sending out a survey to all of you who have registered and attended, just asking about how your experience was and if there's anything else that you'd like to see for future events like this. So if you could all fill that out once that gets sent out, that would be really helpful. Helps us to guide, future event development and make more things like this that you want to see. So that'll get sent out soon.
Thanks. And then finally, I just want to let the students and the CUWA agencies know, for example, we're currently working on and negotiating an agreement or MOU, Memorandum of Understanding, to partner CUWA agencies with their regional CSU campuses. So currently we're in discussions with forming a plan for mutual engagement between Alameda County Water District and CSU East Bay and San Jose State University. And we're looking at not just Alameda County hosting a few internships, but we have a list of about 12 engagement opportunities, like their representatives going to those campus, and people from those campuses going to the agency and have some really meaningful engagement level activities. And we're looking to branch that out throughout the state. So stay tuned through the rest of 2025 for more on that. All right, if anyone has any last words, say it now. Otherwise, thanks to everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you all.
Thank you guys.
Bye.
Thank you.